Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. Alright, okay, first off, before I start this video, let me speak directly to the Liverpool fans. They're saying fans who probably spent the weekend weeping like a constipated pig. I did a video 3 weeks ago hinting that Jurgen Klopp was suffering a Borussia Dortmund-esque burnout, and that he should leave Anfield with his head held high as a living legend this summer for the good of the club. It's fair to say that one didn't go down too well.
Your insufferable high-pitched voice makes this video even stupider than it already was. No, just no. If Klopp should quit Liverpool, you should quit YouTube. Oh, shut your grid, lad. Jeez, this is stupid. Only a moron wants Klopp out.
Lads, I was given the same reception that any Mormons might get if they knocked at any door in Texas. So, Chris, you'd swear I was trying to sell you knockoff editions of The Sun. But lads, Liverpool are in utter crisis. This isn't a video where I'm just going to take pot shots at Liverpool fans.
Oh, the banter club of England. Let's all laugh at Salah.
No, Liverpool fans, I'm on your side with this. Because this really isn't good enough. This is unacceptable, and trust me, that is a turn of phrase I've heard quite a lot in my life, where there was a teacher scolding me for failing my geography exam, or an elderly neighbour's response to me accidentally defecating on his lawn. Never drink pints of milk that was found in your neighbour's bin. Just don't do it. But lads, Liverpool since Christmas have been a complete and utter joke, and the fans deserve better. This is a fan base who were forced to wait 30 years to win a goddamn league title, and then when they finally do, not only are they deprived of an open-top bus parade, but they're not even allowed to hug their bastard mates. They had to swallow their excitement, sit on their hands, and politely clap on the couch. Good Christ, instead of celebrating amongst their brethren in Anfield, these fans were forced to just cheer into their goddamn iPhones.
And Liverpool are champions of England. Come on!
So this season, this should have been Liverpool utterly stamping their authority on the league, pocketing yet another Premier League title, drawing level on 20 with Manchester United, before celebrating both league wins this summer in a cataclysmic, triumphant fugue of Liverpool fans swinging their beer bellies in the streets like a gaggle of pinatas. No, in reality, even when lockdown rules are finally lifted this summer, Liverpool fans are probably still going to hibernate on the couch. Because do you really think any red scousers is going to want to socialise down the pub after finishing 9th in the goddamn league? Back in September, they were aiming to finish top of the English pyramid, not languish behind West Ham and Aston Villa. Good Christ, this was supposed to be one of the greatest eras in the club's history. And now, yeah, they're praying for a Champions League miracle win to knock Everton out of the Champions League and to restore some dignity after finishing behind David Moyes. I'm sorry, is this 2005 all over again? I don't hear Shane Ward or Daniel Powter on the radio, so I'm gonna say no. It's probably a good thing if I did hear them on the radio, I'd probably immediately stuff my ears with socks. I sat through 90 minutes of that utter horror show, and honestly, I can imagine if you were a Liverpool fan watching that, it would be about as much fun as watching a 2-hour footage of your granny shaving her legs in the bath. This was putrid, and you know what's unforgivable about this? It was inevitable. You already knew the script before sitting down to watch this one, just off the back of 5 straight Anfield defeats.
Oh, we couldn't possibly lose at home to Fulham.
Oh no, well then I guess the Burnley and Brighton games were just a figment of everyone's imagination. Imagine telling someone last season, when Fulham were getting beaten up 3-0 at home to Hull City, that Scott Parker, a guy wearing a white coat over a Gillette, would soon be masterminding a win in Anfield. You know, the fortress where no away manager has won since 2017? Just utter nonsense, but the most unforgivable thing is that it's in keeping with the form table. Listen, I realise the injury to Virgil van Dijk in October probably ended their title bid right then and there. Yes, that's fine, but there is a way to concede your Premier League crown, and this isn't it. This is just utterly pathetic. Listen, even before Christmas Day, sure, the Reds had dropped points, but they'd only lost once in the league, that being that utterly disgraceful 7-2 loss at Villa Park, which honestly almost reduced some shell-shocked fans to comatose, quivering vegetables only capable of one word.
7-2. Grealish, the 7 for Villa. 7.
That was a ridiculous day of football. Van Dijk was a Ballon d'Or runner-up, and yet here was a former Exeter centre-forward, making him look like Fred Flintstone on roller skates. But lads, Liverpool were 5 points clear at the top of the league on Christmas Day, while Man City were nearly 10 points behind in 7th. 3 months later, Liverpool are now 22 points behind and sitting 8th in the league. Ever since Santa Claus broke COVID rules to climb down everyone's goddamn chimney, despite being a high-risk old man with a hemorrhoids problem, Liverpool have played 14 league games and won just 3 times. Good Christ, Anfield hasn't seen a home win since mid-December. That is relegation form. Losing your last 6 games at home, this is just utterly embarrassing. Imagine going 3 years unbeaten at Anfield before now collapsing like Ned Flanders' house. I know you've had your spine completely yanked out of your club, and I know that's hard to recover from, just ask Stephen Hawking. But you still been able to field a starting 11 consisting of international captains, Premier League and European champions, Golden Boot winners, the most expensive goalie in the world. Can you stop with the excuses? Are you telling me you need Virgil van Dijk on the pitch to beat West Brom at home? Really? Because looking at their cardboard defence, I'm pretty sure I could field a team of incontinent pensioners, and they'd probably squeak themselves a win against the Baggies. The utter collapse is not good enough, and it's not fair to the rest of the league. Since the 3rd of February, Liverpool have allowed relegation scrappers like Brighton, Burnley and Fulham to all leave Anfield with maximum points. How is this fair on a club like Newcastle? This complete dereliction of duties, it just throws the entire league into disrepute. It's a bit like playing FIFA against someone who's just fallen asleep on the couch. These Liverpool players might be feeling sorry for themselves after they gave up on their Premier League crown, but I don't care. You might not have a sense of collective pride and dignity, but what about the fans? I know it's easy to forget they exist when you play in empty stadiums, but trust me, there are millions of Liverpool fans scattered across the globe, and yet once again are having their dignity dragged through a rose bush. Once again, the laughing stock of the league. Listen, this Liverpool team have been world class, a brutal winning machine for 2 years, and with that comes a level of responsibility. You've allowed your fans to dream, to talk you up as one of the greatest Premier League sides of all time. Now look at them. After 30 years of hurt, the Liverpool fans are finally puffing their chest out in the street and proudly looking forward to another decade of English dominance. And now the team's just given up. Liverpool fans are now being laughed at in the street, but why? Because Gini Wijnaldum is no longer bothered to close down his man? Because Robertson now wants to play like he did at Hull? The players might think,
oh, the title race is done, who cares if we lose?
I'm sorry, one of those games was the Merseyside Derby. Liverpool hadn't lost to Everton in 10 years. The Toffees hadn't won a game at Anfield since the previous century. But now the Scouse Reds are going to be forced to put up with Everton fans laughing in their face at Tesco's. Liverpool fans talk about Roy Hodgson's brief 6-month tenure as an utter nightmare, and yes, it was complete and utter cow cheese. It was brutal, horrific football with a defensive omelette like Paul Konchesky at left back, but that man still never presided over 6 home defeats in a row. Let's just talk about Jurgen Klopp. I don't want to be hard on this man, because he is just after suffering a tragic personal loss, and yes, obviously my heart goes out to the man, but lads, this horrific run of form, it even predates that. It's a good question. Who motivates the motivator when he needs picking up himself? But lads, this isn't just about Klopp. This is about a set of players who look utterly spent. Their hunger is gone, but even worse than that, their pride is now lying stuffed halfway down a garbage chute. Roy Keane called Liverpool bad champions a month ago, and Liverpool fans almost coughed up their morning shreddies in disgust, with Lars McKenna choosing to dig through the court of Twitter to scramble a counter-argument so flimsy it might as well have been constructed by Lionel Hutz. But lads, to me, bad champions are teams who seem to forget they're wearing the Premier League crown before stumbling about like a pack of paralysed pigs. But Chelsea 2015, to me, were the worst offenders, winning just 4 of their 16 league games under Jose Mourinho before firing a week before Christmas as they hovered just above the relegation zone at 15 points. Well, guess what, lads? In Liverpool's last 16 matches, they've taken just 3 points more than that shambolic Mourinho meltdown. I hope this hammers home just how chaotic and ludicrous this is. Liverpool, a team who hooved up nearly 200 points in just 2 seasons, are currently just 1 win better than a Chelsea team who didn't know how to work. We all remember their pathetic title defence. Like just Cesc Fabregas and Eden Hazard had just forgotten how to use their feet, and there were a fat waste of cash rotting on the bench, the likes of Radamel Falcao, Pedro and Oscar. It was an unbalanced who's who of footballing horror stories. A bunch of players who clearly just given up and are now just sleepwalking to defeats against Stoke and Bournemouth, following up a title win with relegation form. It's a complete fugue of contrasting emotions for the fans. A roller coaster that's not fair to inflict on these highly strung fans. It's a bit like getting married to the love of your life in May before spending the autumn months living on the streets and making love to empty cartons of milk. Chuck the excuses in the bin. I don't care that you suffered injuries. You were the champions of England, but not only that, a Liverpool team who won 18 games in a row last season. They were making a mockery of a league marketed as the most difficult division to win in Europe. Just plowing through teams on a weekly basis. Nobody was a match for them. I don't want to kick Klopp when he's down, and I won't. I'm a big fan of the man. He's a world-class coach. What he's done at Anfield is beyond comprehension. Taking a run-down, stale Brendan Rodgers team up with Benteke up front, who've just sold their biggest asset, who've just seen their club captain retire in the MLS. There's a team who didn't even know how to win the Europa League, and who recently conceded 6 at Stoke. To take them to both Champions League and Premier League titles, the man deserves a statue outside the ground, but his level of intense work. His cycle at Borussia Dortmund lasted 6 years before utterly burning out in 2014. Are we forgetting it? In October 2014, he oversaw 5 defeats in a row. Does that sound familiar? People say,
oh, he had all his best players sold to Bayern Munich. Of course he was gonna struggle.
Lads, I hate to do this, but here was just a collection of big-name footballers who he had sitting bottom of the Bundesliga in February 2015. Mats Hummels, Neven Subotic, Shinji Kagawa, Ilkay Gundogan, Henrik Mkhitaryan, Ciro Immobile, Marco Reus, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I mean, come on! Selling players to Bayern Munich did not ruin this Dortmund team. Good Christ, after their second Bundesliga title win in 2012, he was forced to sell 11 players that summer, and yet they still went and reached the Champions League final at Wembley. Klopp is able to refresh a squad, and he is able to build new teams. Klopp is capable of building again, but I just think he might need a break and a new challenge. Step out of the high-pressure cooker, intense atmosphere of Anfield just for 6 months before maybe trying to have a crack at winning the 2022 World Cup with Germany. Because apart from 5 months of sitting on the couch in mid-2015, Klopp has lived and breathed day in, day out the intense calendar of club football for 20 straight years. Even Jose Mourinho's had more time off work in those 2 decades, and most people call him an outdated and shriveled up old peanut. Maybe that's it, fellas. Let me know in the comment section below. Liverpool fans, I'm not having a go at your club. I just think you need a fresh start. Let me know in the comment section. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.